Stop losing leads and start automating your customer conversations. I'll show you exactly how to build a smart lead qualifying chatbot from scratch. We will do this by using two no-code tools, Flowise and n8n. Step 1 of creating a chatbot is we need to come inside of Flowise AI. Once you are inside of Flowise AI, you need to come to the chat flow section. Once you are inside the chat flow section, you need to click on this add new. So once we are inside this add new, we need to start by coming into this plus section and we will search for tool agent. This tool agent is going to be the outer shell of our chatbot. This is the actual agent that will do all the messaging with our clients. We're going to reduce the size a little bit here. Take this, put this towards the right. So one of the first things that we will need to attach to this tool agent is memory. To do that, we will go here and say I need a buffer memory. Once I get the buffer memory, let's reduce the size of the map. I'm going to connect this buffer memory with the memory of the tool agent. Now once the memory is connected, the next thing we need is the tool calling chat model. So essentially this is the LLM that we will be using in our chatbot to converse with the users. So for this, we'll go here and we'll say, I need to go to the chat model. Inside of the chat model, you have all of these options that you can use as the chat model. For our purposes, I prefer Open API. So I'll prefer the chat Open AI. I'll drag this out. Once this is out, I'm gonna connect this chat Open AI with the tool calling chat model. Inside here, you need to now provide credentials to connect OpenAI with your chatbot. I've already done the connections, as you can see over here. So I'll select OpenAI API in my case, but in your case, if you don't have those, you need to click on this create new, and then you need to go inside of the OpenAI and create an API key over there. Get the API key, save it in your Flowise AI module, and that's how you will create your own credentials. For our purposes, I will click on OpenAI API. So now that we have the chat model also in place, the next thing we need is the tools. Essentially, the thing that we need here is when the client talks to your chatbot, it is going to ask, the user is going to ask questions about your business. The chatbot needs to know the information about your business to be able to answer questions on that. So for that, what we'll do is we will use this retriever tool. Just drop it outside. Let's drag everything towards the right to make some room. Okay, so first thing we'll do is we'll connect this retriever tool over to our main tool agent. Now we need to give this retriever tool a name. We will call it FAQ. And the description we will say is this tool will read the FAQ to provide info to the customer. Okay, we have this thing here as well. Now that we have a retriever tool agent that's going to retrieve the information and provide it to our main tool agent, now we need to provide the information to this retriever tool. So the way to do that is we'll need to go to a vector database. So we're going to go to the vector store. Inside the vector store, you have all of these options again. For our purposes, I will choose the document store vector. I'm going to put this outside. So we need to link this document store with our retriever tool. Now that we have done that, we're going to click on this save button. We're going to give our chat flow a name. We will call it chatbot because why not? Now what we need to do is we actually need to provide the information to this document store. So what I've done is I've gone to ChatGPT and said, hey ChatGPT, give me information about some random business. And then I've taken that information and put it into a text file. But for your purposes, what you will do is you will create a text file with all the information about your own business if you are creating this chatbot for your business. So now that we have done the save, now we need to go and upload that text file that I created inside of Flowise. So the way to do that is I'm going to come outside. Once I'm outside, I'm going to go to the document store that you're seeing down here. Click on this. Now I need to upload the text file which has the information of my business up in here. I'm going to click on add new. I'll call this FAQ. Click on add. Once this is added, I'm going to go inside here. I'm going to click on this add document loader. Remember I said it's a text file in our case, but you have all of these other data types that you can choose. Perhaps you want to import from a CRM, which would be Airtable, or you want to import from Confluence, or you have a CSV file. All of these options are available. For our purposes, I am choosing text file. I'm going to give it the name FAQ. I've saved it on my desktop, so I'll go to my desktop. So okay, so I put in the name FAQ. I've uploaded the FAQ file. Don't need to do anything on additional metadata. We don't need to do anything on the metadata keys. It's a text file. We don't need to do anything here. We can click on preview chunks. So you can see this is the content of my text file. I've given a name. I've provided an overview of my business and then what kind of services I provide. So it looks like the document store is able to retrieve information from the text file that I provided. You can see this is the content of my text file. So everything looks good. Now I'll click on this process button. Okay, so the processing is started. Once the processing is started, we'll go in here and say we need to upsert these chunks, but before we upsert these chunks, we need to create an index into any database. You can either choose Supabase or you can choose Pinecone. For our purposes, we will choose Pinecone. So I've logged into Pinecone, and once you are inside of Pinecone, you will come to this indexes tab. You will click on this create index, and you'll provide an index name. I'm going to just say Flowise. So original, right? Okay, so click outside. Now for configuration, first you got to remember the name you gave here. It will be useful later on. In the configuration, you need to kind of go toward the right. You can pick any one of the configurations. For our purposes, I'm going to select this specific one, text embedding 3 small. Scroll down. So you see dimensions over here. I'm going to check 1536 instead of 512. Metric cosine, 8191 tokens, serverless, everything else looks okay. We don't need to do anything else. I'll just click on this create index. Index is initializing. Okay. So it looks like an index has been created. Flowise is our index that was created. We'll come back into our Flowise AI. Once we are inside of Flowise AI, we're going to come here and we'll say upsert chunks. So once you click on upsert chunks, you have these 3 records that show up. We'll click on this select embeddings. Now this is essentially telling us what kind of LLM you were using. So we were using OpenAI. So I'm going to click on OpenAI. In here again, you need to provide the API keys so Flowise can connect to OpenAI. I had already created mine, so I'm going to click on OpenAI API. The one that you created earlier would show up here for you. Okay, text model name. So in here you can see it is showing you the 3 models present inside of OpenAI. What we had selected was text embedding 3 small. I think we should be able to see this here. Text embedding 3 small. You can see this one. So this is where you got to change it to the one that we selected. No need to change this, no need to change this, no need to change this. Save config, and then we got to click on select vector store. Now remember, in our case, so these are all the vector stores you could have chosen. In our case, we chose Pinecone. So I'm going to click on Pinecone. Now again, you need an API key for Flowise AI to connect to your Pinecone. You click over here. I've already created an API key. If you haven't, click on create new, then go inside of Pinecone, create an API key and make the connection here. For our purposes, I'm going to select the one that I created. Now in here, it's asking us for the index that we created inside of Pinecone. Remember, the name of our index that we created was Flowise. So we'll just come in here and say it's Flowise. Click outside of it. File upload. We don't need to do anything. Top K, it's okay. Similarity is okay. Okay. So if I click on this select record manager, basically it provides us an opportunity to create a record inside these, but we don't need it for now. So I'm going to click outside. I think we are good. We're just going to go here and say all the information has been added. We'll click on this upsert and then we wait. Let's give it a few seconds for it to do its work. So you can see that the record has been upserted successfully. All the information that was there in my text file is now showing up in here, which means it's been loaded into the document store successfully. We'll close this from here. And now we'll go back into our chat flow. We'll go inside the chatbot that we created. Now we will click on this drop down and we should be able to see the FAQ document that we created in the document store. You can see we have the FAQ document now. So now that the FAQ document is here as well, the only thing that is remaining is we need to provide this tool agent with a prompt. Basically, this prompt will provide the guidance for our LLM to be able to converse with our end user. So I've already pre-prepared a prompt. So if you want to go through it very quickly, the responsibilities of the AI agent are: you need to provide information, use the data provided in the files to answer questions related to the products and services, encourage booking. After addressing the user's query, always ask if they like to book an appointment or consultation. Use the capture_lead tool to do that. We will come to this in a few seconds. Booking process: if the user wishes to book an appointment, politely request the following information. So we will be asking the user for these 4 pieces of data. How we do it, we'll come to it in a few seconds as well. Once the details are collected, pass this information to the capture lead function. Confirm by saying thank you. Someone from our team will get back to you soon. Okay, this looks good. I'm just gonna copy this. Okay, let's go back to our Flowise AI. We'll go into this tool agent, which is our agent for the chatbot. We will click on this additional parameters and we're gonna delete this prompt and paste our prompt that we created inside here. Okay, so looks like we are good. We're gonna click on the save button. Okay, so now that this thing is done, we need to create in this additional parameter. We can see there are a few things that are new. Capture lead tool, and then these 4 pieces of information that we need to gather from the end user. So we'll do that next. Click cancel here, come outside of it. In order for us to do that, we will make use of this custom tool. Take this, drag it outside. Inside of this custom tool, we'll say I need to create a new one. In here, I'm gonna give the name that we put in our prompt. We'll call it capture lead. We need to provide a description of what this tool does. This tool provides leads who need bookings. Okay, this one-liner should be enough. Now we scroll down, come to the input schema. This input schema is where we will define the 4 variables that we need. I'll click on this add item. So inside the property, we need to put the name of the variable. Our first variable is going to be first name. See, I don't want a space between the names. Okay. The type is going to be string. Description is going to be, it is a first name. Okay. So our next item is, since we have the first name, now we need the last name. It again is type string. Description is going to be last name. The third variable that we would need is email. We need some way of contacting the user. This again is going to be string. Description is going to be email. So the fourth piece of item that we need is the customer's phone number. Again, it's going to be string. Description is, it is a phone. Okay. So we have defined the 4 variables that we need: first name, last name, email, phone. On the bottom here, you see this a JavaScript function. So basically what this says is, once the user provides me with the 4 variables, meaning their first name, last name, email, and phone, I need to be able to take that information and save it somewhere. For our purposes, we will be taking this information in Flowise, but then saving it over inside of n8n. So for us to do that, Flowise actually provides us an example of what that code looks like. So you can click on this C example. Basically says, just provide a URL over here, do a get function. Get function is because it is, in this example, they are trying to read information from somewhere. But in our case, we'll need to make this post because we are sending information to n8n. Okay. So essentially, this is an example they gave. For our purposes, I've kind of already created the code. So we'll go here, copy the entire thing, come inside here, click on paste. Okay, so we'll just read through it very quickly. So this URL, we will replace it with the URL in n8n. It's a post type because we are sending the data over. Here you can see there is a new snippet of code I introduced. Basically the 4 variables, first name, last name, email, phone, that we will be grabbing through our chatbot. We will be sending over to n8n. So we'll click on add for now. We will need to come back later to change this URL over here. Click on add, click on save over here. One of the things that we need to do is we need to link this custom tool over to the tool agent. And now that we have done that, we're going to click on this save button. So now that our chatbot is saved, we need to go into workflow. This is basically our n8n. Inside of n8n, we need to click on this plus sign over here. And here we need to search for webhook. So this webhook that's coming in, what we need to do here is, it's a post, because essentially when the data comes over to this webhook, we want to save it somewhere in a CRM. In our case, we'll be using a Google Sheet. But for now, you need to understand that we're not reading data, we are saving data somewhere. So that's why it's a post. For path, we will say chatbot. So we know later how it is coming. Authentication, we don't need for now. Immediately should be okay. So Right now, this is a test URL. We're starting by testing, so we'll use a test URL. I'm going to copy this from here. Copy. I'm going to click on listen for test event. So right now, our webhook is listening for any data that is going to come here. We're going to go in our chatbot. Inside of our chatbot, we need to go to this custom tool that we had created. I'm going to click on this pencil icon. We'll go to our code here below. In this code, we're going to delete this example URL, and then we're going to replace it with our endpoint. Made a small mistake. Gotta remove this tick from here. Gotta introduce a tick here. Okay, perfect. We're gonna hit on the save button now. We hit on the save button here. So now you can see that the data is coming in into n8n. Basically, on your right hand side, you can see this is the data that we passed in from Flowise AI. First name was Meg, last name was Ryan. This is the email, this is the phone number. We're going to click on this pin. The reason for this pin is so that we don't have to do back and forth again and again between Flowise AI and n8n. Okay, we're going to go back. The next step in our process is what we need to do is we need to save this information that we gotten from the webhook into a Google Sheet. So we're going to click here. We're going to say Sheet. We want Google Sheets. Inside of Google Sheets, we want append in row. So again, here on the top, you need to provide credentials so you can connect your Google Sheets account with n8n. I've already created an API key. If you don't, you need to click on this create new credentials and follow the steps. Resource sheet within document is okay. Operation append row is okay. Document list. So instead of from list, we'll say by URL. I've created a Google Sheets. I've called it leads. I've given the column names as the 4 variables that we are fetching in from Flowise. So you need to do this on your end as well. Now the next step I need to do is I need to get the URL. This thing. We'll go inside of our n8n. We need to paste the URL that we got in here. So you can see in here in the sheet it says by URL. Instead of changing by URL, we'll call it change by name. Once we say change by name, it pre-populates sheet 1. Sheet 1 is what we have here, sheet 1 inside of our Google Sheets tab. We go back and in the mapping column mode, we say we don't want automatically, we want to map each column manually. So now that we have done that, you can see it is pulling in the column name. So inside the first name column, what we want is we're going to go here. I'm going to say, give me the first name value coming in from the webhook. For the last name, provide the last name coming in from the webhook. Same thing with email, same thing with phone. Now that all of this information is in here, I'm going to go back to the canvas, click on the save button, and then we're gonna click on this execute step. Once we clicked on this execute step, you can see that the Google Sheet component has executed and the information that came in from the webhook, remember it was megryan at gmail.com and Meg's phone number, that should now be sent over to the Google Sheets. We'll click on this Google Sheets and here you can see we're getting meg at gmail.com and her phone number. Okay, we'll come back to our chatbot now. We want to do an end-to-end test. For this, we will say, hi, what do you do? Now the chatbot will provide us with all these services that our business does. At the end, it will say, would you like to book an appointment? Yes, book please. Now it's going to ask us for our information. We will say Jack, last name Rich, because who doesn't want to be, email @jack@gmail.com, some fake number. Okay, let's hit enter. Okay, looks like our chatbot has taken this information and sent it over to our n8n. Now we'll go to our n8n and see what's happening there. We can see the information came in and it's passed through. Let's go to our Google Sheets and see that the information should have gone through there as well. So you can see very clearly our information jack@gmail.com and the phone number has gone through. So this is an end-to-end test of how when the user is conversing with your chatbot, provides information, asks to book an appointment, and that information is now saved in your CRM, which in our case here was the Google Sheets. If you like this video, come back again for more. Hopefully this was helpful to you. Thank you.